reaction to today's summit. I'm joined now by Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, a senior member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us. You released a statement after the summit praising President Biden for sending, quote, a strong message that his administration will not turn a blind eye to Putin's belligerence. But do you think anything substantial came out of their meeting today that changes the U.S.-Russia dynamic in any meaningful way?
Well, I think anybody who thought we were going to see a major change in the dynamic was not very realistic about what the expectations should have been going in. This was a first time face-to-face meeting. I think it was very important that the president do this meeting. And he came into this summit with strong support from our NATO allies, from the EU community, from Britain. And Putin came in with just Russia and the possibility of maybe Russia working with China at some point in the future. So I think the president came in from a position of strength. I think it was important to have this one-on-one meeting for him to let Vladimir Putin know what we are concerned about in the United States and the aggressive tendencies of Russia. And I do think it was important for us to agree that we were going to put our ambassadors and embassy personnel back in both the United States and Russia, that it's important. We can't begin to improve communication and working unless we have those diplomats in place.
You mentioned the concerns that the U.S. has, and one of the major threats coming from Russia has, of course, been the cyber and ransomware attacks. President Biden hinted at the retaliatory capability that the U.S. has, but given the number of attacks that are happening and so often, do you think that the president should have laid out more specifics about possible U.S. retaliation to get Russia to stop these attacks coming from within their borders immediately?
Well, I think it was important for the president to let Vladimir Putin know that we have the capability to inflict serious harm into Russian infrastructure. And we saw in 2016, Russia's meddling in our elections. In 2018, they tried to do the same thing, and we shut down their bots immediately and without any warning. So I think Russia should be clear on our capabilities. And if they continue to interfere, then we clearly need to be more aggressive in our response.
And when you say be more aggressive in our response, if they continue with cyber attacks, do you think that military options should be on the table? Does this change the rules of engagement?
Well, that's something that we need to discuss in a number of venues, but certainly what should be on the table is a cyber response. And I do think we have those capabilities.
And the president also raised the issue of human rights and imprisonment of opposition leader Alexei Navalny. He implied that Putin will moderate his actions to avoid hurting his global standing. But your fellow Senator Lindsey Graham criticized that on Twitter, saying that Putin could care less about how the world views his efforts to silence dissidents at home and abroad. Again, quite frankly, I think he enjoys the reputation of being someone you don't want to cross. That's what Senator Lindsey Graham said. So is President Biden miscalculating on what will change Putin's behavior on suppressing his political opposition?
Well, the president also raised the two Americans who are being held unjustly in Russian jails, former military, and we need to speak out very loud about that and about Russia's other human rights violations. And I don't expect a one-time encounter to make a change in Russia's behavior, but I do expect a continued pressure from the United States and the international community and all of the international forums that are available. And we have to recognize that diplomacy is not a one-time only event. To be effective in our diplomacy, we've got to be consistent with our message. We've got to be persistent, and we don't give up. And the United States is back on the world stage, taking its proper role in the international community. And one of the things we will continue to speak out about is the violation of human rights, whether that's in Belarus or Russia or anywhere in the world. And it's important for us to do that and to engage and motivate the international community to do the same.
And President Biden also said that it would take 6 months to a year to see if the U.S. and Russia, quote, have a strategic dialogue that matters. Should Putin be given that amount of time to show whether he will change his approach toward the U.S. and what you've called his malign behavior on the world stage, 6 months to a year, do you think that he should be given that much time?
I don't think Vladimir Putin is going to change his behavior at all. I think what we need to do is to, what he responds to is power. It's a strong response from the United States when he steps out of bounds. And we've got to show him over the next 6 months to a year to 3 years to however long it takes that we're not going to accept the behavior that we've seen out of Russia in the last 5 years.
And lastly, I do want to ask you about the ongoing talks on infrastructure. You're part of a group of bipartisan Senate moderates that have agreed on the framework of a deal, with that group now expanding to 20 senators total. But do you see the White House signing on to this approach? And can you really keep on board more progressive Democrats to support this more modest infrastructure package?
Well, we're still talking to the White House about some issues that they have, trying to get more information from the White House about some of their concerns. And I think we can continue to expand the support for this package. And I don't see it as the one and only package to address infrastructure. It's the traditional definition of infrastructure that we think of, but I also believe there's a lot of support for what President Biden has called his family's plan, that recognizes that investing in people is as important as investing in roads and bridges and buildings, and that we need to do both.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire. Senator, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.